Hey everybody, welcome back to the Premierium live stream. My name's Nick Taylor, your host, and today I'm hanging out with my friend Rizel Scarlett, who's over at Entire. Rizel, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Feeling pretty productive today. I already got my workout out of the way, so got my sweat on, and now I'm just all chill and don't have to worry about working out the rest of the day. And just busy doing all things DevRel and just yeah, lots going on. What about yourself?
Good. That's good. Morning workouts always hit. Yeah, I'm feeling good too. We released like some cool like beta releases to our insiders. So I've been like excited about that and just uh doing DevRel things like you said.
Yeah. No, we're obviously going to talk about Entire in a bit, but yeah, I'm excited to check out the insider stuff. I was telling you a couple minutes before we went live. I've been traveling in Europe, so I just haven't had a chance to. I was at a couple conferences and gave a talk in Romania, so I was had a few things on my plate. So, but I'm excited to dig into it. I guess like before we kind of get into Entire, like, how did it come about? I think if we talk about source control, like
Yeah.
everybody knows what GitHub is. People are maybe familiar with GitLab, and there's other smaller things. And if you want to be old school, you can even email your Git commits, like Linus Torvalds. But you know, like AI is everywhere now. We're gonna talk about that too. So like, I guess you know we kind of have to handle how we do source control differently these days, I guess, or like what's the deal there?
Yeah, I mean, the way I've been thinking about it, I was even doing like some research, kind of like some of the stuff you mentioned on like the history of like source control and how engineers have started to do stuff. Is like I was looking at like how in the past a lot of what coding was like punch cards and stuff like that, and then it became that need of like having to actually have like some kind of level of source control because people were rewriting over each other's code and like doing
Yeah,
emails didn't work and all that. And then Linus is like, you know what? I'm just going to make Git and make everything easier for everybody. And then GitHub comes in and says, like, let's add a user interface to make this even easier for people to leverage. Because while Git was powerful, it's like a little hard to navigate if you can't see everything. So that
yeah,
really helped to like transform modern software engineering, but now we're in this next new level, right? And the former CEO of GitHub, the most recent one, Tom Stomke, and Cole Driver, they both worked at GitHub, and they
okay,
both came together and they were like, we love GitHub obviously, but maybe this is not the right solution anymore for working with AI agents because right now with Git and GitHub, you can see what changes were made, but you really don't know why some of the changes were made. Like if it's
yeah,
you that made the change, you're like, yeah, I added like form validation or I added this particular note or yeah, this looks a little funky or hacky, but I did it because of XYZ. But when an AI agent does it, you don't have all of that insight, especially now that everyone's like going for these crazy agentic workflows. We're not just doing like one prompt at a time anymore. We're like, I'm
yeah,
spinning up 7 million agents and they're all doing stuff. And then in the end, now you have to review all of that yourself and you're just like, I don't know why this happened. I'm just gonna press merge. So they're like,
yeah,
there's a better way for agents and humans to collaborate. And that's really their driving motivation for
yeah.
creating it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, I mean, not everybody's doing the crazy Ralph loops or like the goal running for 2 weeks or whatever, because one, it's frigging expensive. But things are different. Like I feel like you're probably similar to me. Like I still write some code
Yeah,
sometimes, but like a
yeah.
lot of times, like I have some templates I've built, or like I know how to write a React component. I don't really want to write it anymore. I just feel like pull in CN, I'm using tan stack, whatever, do this, create a route, and then like you know it just allows me to move a lot faster,
Yeah.
and like, I still review the stuff obviously, and or have people review it, but it's like I actually, I don't think it's a hot take, but I get kind of annoyed if I have to start typing a lot now. So aside from like prompting, but even that, like I'm using like I'm on a Mac, like most probably like a bunch of us, but like I use the built-in dictation a lot of times too. So it's like, and I don't know, it's obviously new world, but like I'm really enjoying it, or like doing stuff on my phone, like uh,
Yeah. I be
it's
lying
just like,
down in my bed, just like not texting, but I'm on my little mobile app, like, okay, now
yeah,
put.
yeah, and it's it's like obviously you still need to like look at these things, but like it's if it's something like even small tedious things, you could say just kick this off and like I'll go check it in a bit, or like I have an open claw as well, so like I would start building some apps out of it, and
Mhm.
it's just like pretty liberating, and yeah, it's like you can definitely move faster. Obviously, you can create a lot more stuff, and there's like AI slop and all that. But like, I don't know. I think it's really interesting time, and like obviously all of that. Like, I guess if we bring it back to entire, like, you know, how do you capture all that? You know?
Yeah, so we basically use oh, and I also sorry, really wanted to bring up too, like, in addition to reviewing our own code, like the issue of like maintainers, like that maintainers have of reviewing other people's code. And that's
Yeah.
been a burden for them. But the way it all works is like a lot of agents have something called hooks. So like Codex has hooks, Claude Code has hooks, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And basically Entire is listening for these hooks. It's listening for when a session starts, when it ends, when a prompt it goes out and stuff like that. And every single time that happens, that's when the Entire starts tracking the work. And then when you
Okay.
make a commit, you can say you have the option. You don't always have to do this, but you have the option to link your commits to what we call checkpoints. So every time you make a commit, that's when it grabs the prompt, the tool calls, and everything, and surfaces that to you. So it puts all of those
Okay.
that information on like a separate branch, and I can show you guys that.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. I'll just share. You want me to share a screen now?
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
here.
Okay. Cool. All good. All right.
Awesome. So I actually
Uh,
already have a because I see Anthony in the chat, and when I went on his live stream, I don't know what happened with my demo, but it wasn't working. But I actually
okay.
already have a demo with some checkpoints or some agent sessions. Like I built out this like really basic like application, but if I go and type entire checkpoint list, I can see all of like the commits I have that are connected to various like agent sessions. So in this one, I added duplicate bug detection. The first one I built like a tiny bug tracker, and then I added severity, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe I'm going in and I'm like, what the heck was I doing? Or maybe a teammate is picking this up and they're like, I don't
Mhm.
know what you're doing here. So I can run something like entire checkpoint explain, and then I can grab one of the checkpoint numbers, and I can get an explanation of what basically happened. So here we can see like my intent, like it just grabbed this based on like what happened in the session itself. So my intent was I wanted to build a simple bug tracker with form input in memory state, etc. And then the outcome was that it actually built it. It like has some learnings that came from it. It talks
Okay.
about like what files were changed, what the workflow was there any friction, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can see the transcript. You should also be able to see it, sorry,
Oh
in the
yeah. No worries.
slide if people are like, I'm not much of like a terminal girly. Like I'll use it, but I'm like, I just want to like see it more pretty. I think that here we go. The UI is being a little bit slow right now. But you can see like my actual transcript right here where I did that initial prompt, and you can see the response that the agent had. And if you're like, this is too much, I don't want to see like every tool call or whatever, you can filter that out and just
Okay.
see the particular prompt. So that's something you can see. And beyond just um having like some durable, I guess, history, like, right, like, because maybe you're like, okay, cool, I could see my session transcripts. I've also liked that we have these agent skills built in, that instead of me having to write the command entire checkpoint explain, or different combinations of commands, I can just go into whatever agent I have, if since I have skills installed. And I already wrote this, but I can do it again, or I'll just show these ones that I already wrote. But I basically said,
Okay.
hey, explain why we have persistent logic inside of this repository. And then it
Okay.
runs commands behind the scenes for me that I don't have to be like entire explain and then entire search and all of that, because there's a ton of commands here. And it tells me like, hey, here's the reason why it exists, because we're explicitly asking for bug notes to survive refresh. Here's the files that got changed with it. Or if I say like, let's search some past work for duplicate bug validation, like have like, if I'm sitting here I'm like, dang, I swear I did this in my repo a couple days ago, or maybe I have other repos that include that, and it's like, all right, I found a checkpoint in this particular repo where you've done that. I didn't find it in any others. Or I can even, let's say, some people they like to work in different agents for different things. So maybe I can say like, I want to move this over to working in Claude Code, and I don't want to work in Codex for whatever reason. So I can do something
Yeah.
like session handoff, or so I'm going to say hand off this session to, I don't know, Claude Code, and it should create enough of a like information or context that I could copy over and paste into Claude Code and just continue the work there. So it's gonna run that, and then after that, that would be like the end of my demo, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess a couple things. So like like you said, you had some work and there's a checkpoint. So like this is like, is the checkpoint like where you stopped, or is it something you explicitly because like obviously in GitHub there's the notion of a pull request. It's not. I'm assuming it's not the same thing, obviously, but it's it's like, is it where you last stopped working, or is it really like you just say, I want to make a checkpoint because we're all good here with whatever I'm working on? Or
It's like whenever you make a commit that that it creates a checkpoint for you. Does that make
okay.
sense? So like if I make let me say let me make another change right now. Yeah, that's the session handoff. But let's say like, I don't know, make this, I can't think of anything creative. Make this green.
Okay.
Um, yeah, if I say make this green, it should change it. And when those changes happen, I'm gonna run git add. I'm gonna run git commit. And because I've linked, because I've indicated earlier before, like I hopped on this call with you, that I want all my commits to be connected or automatically linked to my checkpoints. It's going to link it for me. So let's just,
Okay.
it's already green. No. Like make the background green. Sorry.
That's okay.
I think it's thinking like test green. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
gonna
Okay.
be a different
Yeah. Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
we want the test. We want the test green too,
yeah.
though.
But I'll show
Okay.
you, maybe if you see it, it'll make more sense. It adds like it adds a trailer to each of my git commits. And I'll show you.
Okay. And I mean, you mentioned Git, obviously. So like under the hood, like how it's being managed in the UI and the CLI is via checkpoints, but like it's still Git under the hood.
Yeah, still get under the hood. The whole idea is we don't want to change your typical developer workflow. Like the entire is
Okay.
just working in the background as you work with your agent and Git how you normally would. So we're not replacing Git.
Okay.
Maybe it's more, think of it more like we might be moving towards replacing forges, but not Git itself. So
Okay.
we should see that we have changes if I do Git status, and then I'm gonna do Git add all, Git commit. Sure, I don't know why it's allowing this. Git commit make made background green. And then if I do Git push, it should say, all right, I'm pushing to this branch that we have called entire checkpoints v1. It did that.
Okay.
And if we go to the repo that I have, maybe I should have started from scratch so you could have seen it, but I'm like, this is better than before when I was on Anthony's call. So yeah, it basically has this separate branch for us where
Okay.
everything's being tracked. Um, and you can see the prompts that I did. Here's the last prompt where I said make this green, like make the background green. So it's tracking all of that there, and it
Okay.
creates. I wish I could show you. I'm trying to figure out how it would show you, but every maybe here.
Or there's the branches too. Are the branches separate checkpoints or
There's only one branch
okay.
um that has all the metadata for your checkpoints, right? There's
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so that's where it happens. So there's not like a new branch for every time you have a different checkpoint, but all your checkpoints will go on that particular branch. But I'm trying to see if in the trailer or if I'm able to show you the trailer. Oh, here we go. So like you see when I made this commit message, it added at
Yeah.
the bottom like the checkpoint number. So it just happens every time I decide to make a commit. It's or the checkpoint just happens every time I decide to make a commit. There's no other like way
Okay.
that it would know. Is that clear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. So there's metadata there for entire to know like the checkpoint. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. And um I guess like because you're in GitHub right now or Git, like uh, with checkpoints in place in the workflow, if you're using entire, do you use branches still, or you just don't bother at this, like, because people are used, you know what I mean, like if I'm working on a feature, I'm going to create a feature branch, I'll make some changes, and then I merge it back into main eventually through a pull request traditionally. So like in the flow of entire, like let's say I was working on a new feature, so like I just pulled main of your full demo and I was like, Rizel's crazy. We need to make the background red, So like I'm gonna, do a bug fix or a feature, and I go to make the background red. Like, do I create a branch still, or okay? So
Yeah, I mean, for this demo, I just used main, but if that's
yeah,
your preference, yeah, like we work. Let me see if I find one of our open source repositories for you to see it. Here's CLI, and then we're looking at sessions. But all of our team, we all make different, we all open up different branches. We just enabled entire, and we just
okay,
like make like in the background. It doesn't matter. You could be on different work trees, different branches, but in the background, entire's kind of like listening to what's going
okay,
on. Yeah. Let me see. Maybe this
okay,
one. Yeah, I don't know if it will show that this is on a different branch, but every single person here is like on different branches. They're using different agents. It really doesn't matter. Like it's not affecting your workflow. We're just like in the background listening and grabbing those
okay.
transcripts and tool calls and whatever that's happening.
Okay. And I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, like obviously teams would probably have whatever their workflow is, so like if I stuck with just doing feature branches or just branches in general for fixes and stuff, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because like when it gets merged to the main one, there's the entire checkpoint metadata regardless, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
like
even if I was on a different brand, yeah, it will all that metadata will all be there, whether I was on regardless of what branch I was on, to be honest.
yeah.
You can
Okay.
make this like some people have said like I don't want to have this like additional branch in my repo. They felt like they want their prompts to be secret, or it's like bloating their repo. You can even put the checkpoint metadata in a um or have that recording happen in a completely separate repo. It doesn't have to have
Oh,
like
okay.
in that repo. Yeah.
Okay. So you could even make that repo private maybe because like you'd have access to it and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I it's funny you bring up the, don't let people see my prompts because like it is, I mean, I'm not embarrassed, but like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what that is, explain it to me or, so it's like, but I don't know. I kind of equate it to like when I first started doing open source. Like I didn't know Git. I was very intimidated. Like my first pull request, I was crapping in my pants. I'm like, I was trying to make it super perfect. It wasn't, and you know what I mean? And I'm sure you remember like when you first started like Git and open source, it must have felt intimidating. And then like now it's like, because people are like, oh, everybody's gonna see your code and it's gonna be terrible. And it's like, one, it gets
Oh,
and the other thing is like you kind of have to get over the fact that like your stuff's out there and also realistically I don't think so, like when I put up all my pull requests it's not like
they're
I
all
don't think there's nobody's reading all of them. There's no way like
yeah.
or they have way too much time on their hands and that maybe I should get a restraining order but that's another thing. But so I kind of feel like it's the same thing like to some degree, like I definitely ask like when I'm talking to Claude or ChatGPT or Codex or Claude Code, I'll ask silly questions, but like that's how I've been learning stuff. Like I'm in a completely different space now. I'm like infra security. There's a million things I don't know, so it's like I'll just be like, "What the heck is this thing?" So I don't know. I mean, if anything, it's in the prompt there. Like somebody else probably didn't know it, to be honest. In
I'm
you know,
really glad you brought that up. So I've had this conversation with my team internally, and at first it took me a while to see that point of view. But I really, Anthony's, uh, but yeah, it took me a while to see that point of view, but I do now because that's like one of our most um like top requested things. Like people don't realize that they can put it in a separate repo. When I keep explaining, like you can keep it private, whatever. So I was like
yeah,
telling my team, like, oh, this seems like such a huge concern, and they said the same thing as you. They're like, we want to start moving people to getting comfortable with being okay to share your prompts. Like this is just
yeah,
going to be a cultural shift because same thing with like being in open source. Your code is sometimes embarrassing. It is what it
yeah,
is. Like not everybody is reading every single thing, so it should be okay to let those prompts be public. And then for folks who like maybe you work at like some kind of like private sector company or something like that, we
yeah.
have like redaction. Like you can redact PII. We even have like user defined redaction, or some people are like, I was swearing at my agent. I don't want them to see that. Like you can redact that. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
lots of options, and I like that you brought that up.
That'd be pretty funny if like your manager or coworkers like, oh hey, what's up, S Codes? Thanks for joining.
So
Uh, yeah, it'd be funny. Like, yeah, man, you've been swearing quite a bit at your agent lately. Anything you want to talk about?
like
But
you
yeah,
have some anger issues.
yeah, but but yeah, like I guess yeah, it's that thing where like we are saying, you just have to get used to like if it's I mean, obviously if it's a private repo, it's only your coworkers that see it, but like I don't know. I consider it another learning tool. Like, you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like imagine, like Matt Pocock's just amazing at a lot of this stuff. And, you know, I think it would be beneficial to people if they saw like what was he literally prompting. Like he obviously has his courses and his guides and stuff, but like if you saw what he was writing in his actual repos when he's asking stuff, like I think it would be I think it's like another way to learn things, like, oh, okay, I can save some tokens if I do this, or like I don't know. It's just another way to learn things, you know what I mean? Because like it's not so much prompting, but just like in general, I think we might have talked about this before, but people, it's not a new topic, but like it's AI. It gives you superpowers, but only if you know how to wield them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'll give you like a funny analogy. Like I didn't I thought this was a joke at first, but there was like the enhanced games in the US recently. Like basically it was like Olympics where they were allowed to use steroids and like whatever. It's like a real thing. Um, it was like a week and a half ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it was before I went to Europe. But like, so there was like swimmers all jacked up and stuff. And the funny thing was, there was like somebody who wasn't on drugs in the, I forget which swimming, I don't know what you call it, heat or race, but
Mhm.
like they won it, and so like that's a testament to say like they had pretty good skills, and they,
Regardless. Mhm.
kind of like, if you're really not good at communicating, I think AI is just going to amplify that. And if you are good at communicating, that's why people say like, oh, you're a 1000x developer now or whatever. It's because you're just, I mean, you still need to know things technically, but like being able to communicate properly is really huge.
Yeah, I literally just wrote a blog post about that, like, earlier this week.
Oh, no way. Oh,
That's
okay,
like
cool,
the
cool.
top developer skill, I think. Like, a lot of people are wondering communication, because a lot of people are like, "Oh my god," like, I guess they're trying to keep up. Like I didn't realize this because I'm in my little like AI bubble, but they're like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like trying to figure out like, am I supposed to be doing like Ralph loops or Gastown or like this agent skill? Like I don't know. And I'm like, I
yeah,
really just think it's communication at the end of the day. Like, are your communication skills good and continuing to improve that? And what you said about going back and looking at how other people are working. I think that's like extremely powerful. Like I think a lot of people at Entire do that because we can see each other's transcripts. We'll
mhm,
be like, oh, how does this person navigate things or make like navigate mistakes with their agents or whatever. And like
yeah,
that's really helpful because it's not like the days where you're like, obviously it's this deterministic thing. You have to do dot map with some parentheses and a fat arrow for it to work. Now it's like
yeah,
different types of things. So it's nice to see, oh, look at how someone else is doing it.
yeah. No, for sure, for sure. And um, I guess this is kind of like the title of the stream was is AI killing open source, and like we've been kind of talking about how we've been leveraging it and stuff. I guess what's your take on like AI with open source right now? Because like there's definitely, it's definitely a problem, but I still think it's a good idea to use AI. But just curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think when I submitted that title, I was just thinking about all the the companies that are like, we're not going to be open source anymore because like I think Cal.com.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's
That
cal.com.
was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah, it's insecure." I was talking to that about Anthony too. Like,
Okay.
they're, like, nervous about vulnerabilities or just other companies, Tailwind, all that. They're like, "It's hard to keep up with the pace of, like, AI agent PRs." And or like people submitting with AI agents. And like
Yeah.
when I maintained Goose, it was, I mean, I still do a little bit. It is a lot of PRs that come in.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't think we should say don't use it. Like don't use
Yeah.
AI. Like it's super helpful. It's giving people more confidence to be like, I'm gonna go ahead and just try to contribute to this project because now I don't have to be nervous if my code is bad. Like I think the agent got a good idea, but I
Yeah.
do think for maintainers, there's like a level, like a burden for them. And I think the direction that Entire is going in, like what I showed you guys is just like our initial product or initial
Yeah.
tool. I think the direction that we're going in is going to make it easier for maintainers to be able to keep up with PRs and all that. So
Yeah.
I think we just need infrastructure that better supports maintainers and better supports open source.
Yeah. Like I know we've also added like to our repos for work at Pomerium. We have like an AI disclosure in the PR templates now, and it's not it's something we didn't have before, but I think it makes sense. I mean, I think the assumption is probably almost everybody. Well, I won't say everybody because there's obviously
And
not everybody is on board with AI, but like I would say the majority of people will probably be using something like Claude Code or Open Code or Codex or whatever these days.
Yeah.
So it's more just like we just want you to say like, hey, yes, this was AI assisted, just a little blurb like I used this model and I was in Claude or whatever. And I think that makes sense. But in the disclosure we have, it's like you still need to review the code. Like you still need to own that code. And I can't remember who said it. I don't know if it was, I feel like it might have been Simon Willison or maybe it was Matt Pocock or Mario Zechner, the Pi creator. But basically, like the end of the day, like oh, it was something along the lines like, oh, there's a bug or whatever, and it's like it's not the agent's fault. You're still in charge, So
Responsible.
like you basically have to take ownership of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's maybe an extreme example, but it's like, oh, the the car hit the old lady crossing the street. Yeah, but you were driving. It's not the
Right.
car's fault. I mean, maybe that's a silly example,
Yeah.
but I think you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think with Goose we had something similar, like check mark off if AI wrote this, and then we had a list of guidelines, especially because we participate in Hacktoberfest heavily. So we were like,
yeah,
here, here's what you need to do. Like if you're going to use AI, that's completely fine, but make sure you're reviewing the code. You're responsible for it, whatever. And I think
mhm,
even like that's kind of like the thing I sometimes say to people when I'm explaining entire. I'm like, you don't want to be the person where like production goes down and they're like, what happened?
yeah,
And you're like, I don't know, like the agent made this change. I don't know why. But I'm like, you can now take a tool like Entire that's doing this observability in the background and like ask for an explanation. Why was this change made? And that way you'll
yeah,
have more context. Cause like you said, you're responsible. It's super to me, it's super a bad look if you're a software engineer and you're like, I don't know why I add this to the code. I just did.
yeah. And this is like it kind of ties into something. I gave a talk a few weeks ago, just before I went to Europe, but it was to career changers and people newer to tech, and I was just saying like, because I think it's kind of difficult right now. Well, I think if you're like starting off, it's kind of rough right now, but like,
Yeah.
because like you do need to leverage AI, but you still have to learn things, right? Like, you still need to make your brain hurt. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But you also have to balance that with leveraging AI. And I was kind of, that was kind of what I was talking about, the
Mm.
talk I gave, but like also like leveraging AI as a learning tool, so that could be like we were saying in Entire, it could be reading people's prompts. It could just be saying like, okay, you made me this function, explain to me like why are you caching this thing, or why did you pick this sorting algorithm, like
Yeah.
it doesn't just have to be a give me the answer kind of thing, so
Yeah, it's a
it's
new way of interacting. Even like Matt Pocock's skill grill me, where it
yeah,
makes sure that you and the agent are on the same got like baseline of why this happens.
yeah, no, totally, totally. Um, I guess bring it back to Entire. So, like, you were showing the web interface. So there's like a chat for starting. I guess are these running in the cloud when you're there? And then because you were saying about like handoffs before, like you were saying, give me a handoff for Claude. Does that actually pick up the work that was being done in the cloud in Entire, or like how does that work?
If I push to remote, like if I do
Yeah.
get push, then it will pick up that I switched from Codex to Claude Code. If I
Okay.
don't, I can keep all of them locally. I can do there's like a flag like skip push
Okay.
session, skip local set. I don't remember, sorry. But there's a flag where I can say I don't actually want this to go up to like any cloud or anything. But yeah, if
Okay.
anytime I press remote, it should switch like show and indicate. I think you saw where it, like there was like a little highlight where it would say like Claude Code or Codex. I don't know if you want me to
Yeah.
show. Yeah, but yeah, it'll show when that switch off or handoff happens.
Okay. And then like I guess the thing like when you're in the web interface like on the entire site,
Yeah.
and it said like Claude or Codex there, and if you start like a session there, is it running like through ACP? Like, is it running Claude in the cloud, or is this all like, or is that only just reference to like you were running it locally with Claude or Codex, or
Yeah, it's not necessarily like ACP included or anything like that. Although it's kind of a cool idea. Um but it's just like whatever I was doing locally, whenever I made that commit, then it grabs whatever happened, and when I push, then it'll put it into the web interface. Like when I push
okay?
the remote. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I guess the other question I have is like, if you're using the web interface, like, is it still doing work for you, or is that just more you asking questions about the repo? Like, or
Oh, are you imagining it like I can prompt from the web interface? Is that
yeah,
what you
like
Oh,
let's
you can't.
okay, yeah,
That makes more
yeah,
sense. Yeah, you can't prompt from the web interface. The web interface right at this moment is really
okay,
just like an overview or a summary of what went on. You can even see like how your team has been interacting, like um if I go
okay,
to like one of the repos, I can say, oh, like Daniel's been using the Pi agent the most, and I've been using Codex or
okay.
whatever. So it's really more like summary based right now.
Okay, so it's just the history of what you did locally that got pushed remotely for
Yeah.
now, at least.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Now I get your question because I was like, oh, I don't get what you're saying, but you're asking like, can I do stuff on the web? No. Not-
okay. Yeah. So you can't spin off like a session, an agent in a session in the web interface, right? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing that confused me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Cool. And yeah, there's like, I guess when you get set up, like I haven't worked with Entire a lot yet,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, just because I've been super busy. But I did set up like you basically if you want to start using it, you install the GitHub app, which is a standard thing a lot of people do if when they want to integrate their stuff, and
Yeah.
then that just allows. I guess what does that give you? The GitHub app that gives access to Entire to read your repo, but or also write to it or
Yeah, let me double check the permissions on the docs to make sure I'm not lying to you. But yes, it does allow you to read, and it does allow some writing content. So okay, yeah, here it is. It allows like pull requests read and write, contents read and write, commit status read, checks read, and administration read. Like so for the purpose of like repository creation, deletion, and like your team and different collaborators and stuff like that. So
okay.
yeah, that's kind of what it does.
Okay, 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 gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And there's the I don't know if you can share your screen again for a
Oh yeah.
second. Um,
What
there's
am I
like
sharing? Let me see.
um add to scene. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like if we go back to yeah, so this is the web view,
Yeah.
and these are like you were just looking at repos that are synced from GitHub through the GitHub app.
Yeah.
And then here this is just kind of like statistics similar I imagine to GitHub. It's not exactly the same, but like seeing who's contributed and stuff.
Yeah.
And so and I guess the other thing, just to clarify, you were saying that a checkpoint is equivalent to a commit, right?
Um,
Or not exactly?
that's how I was likening it for you
Okay.
to get it. But yeah, I would say like it's it's a snapshot. Or I know they're not gonna if they say it's like a commit, I might not even one of them
Okay, okay.
wouldn't like that. But like it's a it's a snapshot of the tool calls, the sessions, the transcript, the prompt,
Oh, okay.
everything that happened. And it's like our own primitive of a checkpoint. Like, I mean, of a
Yeah.
so instead of saying a commit, we have checkpoints, but all of them are linked or connected to your commit. So every time, let me see if
Okay.
I can find a session here that has a couple commits. I maybe this, I don't know. Right.
Okay, so there's 3 checkpoints here it says.
Yeah, and this is every single time he's made a commit, it's grabbed, whatever things he's changed, whatever tool called,
Okay.
whatever files changed. Yeah. Is that clear?
Okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah. yeah, so it's a snapshot, but the snapshot includes everything that went into that commit or commits. Like it's there's the code part, there's like you said, the tool calls, the conversation, what model you're using, etc. Okay.
Yeah, like a
Okay.
regular commit would just grab the file, like what diff was changed, and then a checkpoint would be like, I'm grabbing every single part of your agent session and
Yeah.
making it more readable for you, but it's connected to your commit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this makes it interesting. Like obviously we're saying it's a good idea to like have your prompts and stuff. And it's like, normally like say there's a bug that gets introduced in like in the code base, you know, like I've used git bisect, like, hey, what's
Yes.
going on? What's going on? And it's it's maybe it's using git bisect too, maybe the agent would, but like it could be interesting because like maybe you bisect to where you find the bug, but then it's not just that commit you're on in git, you have like the full context, like this is what they asked or this is what they said to change, you know what I mean, like so like it doesn't necessarily, but it could potentially help you to resolve the issue a lot quicker because oh, this is what they were thinking, or like, oh, that's why it's a bug because they didn't know about this other thing, or it's I don't know, kind of makes like the detective work potentially easier.
Yes, definitely, and that's why, and I'll copy this just so I can share it, but that's why I was showing the agent skills a little bit earlier. I think I went a little
Okay.
fast with that, but this is running a mixture of, like, Git commands and some entire commands, so I can be like, explain, like, I could say, "Explain why this bug happened," or I can say, like, what happened on, like, these particular files in my
Okay.
or this particular line if I notice there's a bug or something like that, and it'll well, I forgot to write what happened here. I just wrote happened
Okay.
here. Hopefully it picks up on that. But yeah, it'll trace that. It uses git blame and it uses like entire explain and a couple of commands all together, and it'll help me get to the issue faster. I just did that like maybe 2 nights ago
Okay.
where I pushed up a blog, it didn't deploy, and I was like, "What is going on?" And apparently, from working with my agent, I figured out that like my teammate beforehand had like bumped some node versions in Cloudflare, and that made deploy stop happening. So it really makes it so much easier and faster. Like, and this is not necessarily a bug, but like this is how
Yeah.
fast it could help me find the bug rather than doing git bisect and looking through each commit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess this is like I don't know if this is something that's possible right now, but like if I were to like I know like in Claude or maybe I think Goose does this too. You know where you like you have a conversation or you've been asking questions and stuff, and then you're like, oh no I want to go back to this point and fork it. Is there can you do something similar to that maybe with checkpoints or
Yeah, we have a command called entire rewind. I don't
okay.
use it that much, but you can see when I typed in entire rewind, I can see the different checkpoints. I'm like, okay, here's where I added like
Okay.
sev badges or made it green or whatever, and then I can go back to that moment and
Okay.
continue to work from there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's cool, cool. Yeah. Also, a very, very cool CLI command name.
Yeah.
Rewind. It's- yeah. Okay, no, this is super cool. Okay, so I guess like to I know we're getting close to time. I unfortunately have a hard stop at 4 p.m. because my daughter does too many sports. But
That's a good
but
thing.
yeah, no, it's not a bad thing. It's just I got to drive her somewhere. But yeah, so I guess if we I guess just correct me if I'm wrong on anything here. I'll try and summarize what I kind of understand entire here right now. So it's still git based, so like it's not like people need to learn a new workflow. They can still do their usual git stuff, use their aliases, work tree, whatever they want. um it's still I guess one thing I didn't ask is the source of truth still GitHub, like, or do you mirror I don't know, is that a spicy question?
It's spicy, but right? Yes, the source of truth. The source of truth is GitHub. But maybe soon it won't be.
Okay, okay. All right. It's a good thing this isn't live. I'm sure I can cut this out.
Okay. You can leave it. You can leave
No,
it.
no. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, okay. So, but yeah, like as of today, GitHub is still the source of truth. You do all your normal Git workflows. There's entire comes with the CLI. You can create checkpoints. You get all this metadata. So, like when you do a commit, um, I can't remember. Do you have to explicitly say create a checkpoint? Because like when you commit in Git, obviously it has no idea about entire.
Yeah, on the first go, I think I skipped that part for you, but like on the first go, you enable entire in the repository, and when you make your first commit, it's going to ask, do you want to link your commits to your checkpoints? And you can say
Okay.
always, never, yes, yeah.
Okay. So that's how we get that, and then obviously when you push that up, the metadata is in the commit. There's like a hash or some kind of UUID related to that checkpoint, and then that's how entire, if you're looking in the web interface or maybe even the CLI to how you can see the various checkpoints, and like you were saying, that includes not just the code changes which are in Git. It'll also include like what were the tool calls made, what's what prompts or what was the conversation there, the model, the harness, etc., or the agents, right? So yeah, no, that's I think is that pretty much kind of like the state of things right now? Is that
Yeah, I think
okay?
I think that's pretty much it. This conversation did make me know I need to be able to explain checkpoints better, but like I think
Okay.
that you pretty much got it.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. No, I got to say this is obviously a lot of people are still on GitHub. It's not like people can just, well, maybe they can't. Anyways, it's kind of like where things are at. But like, but we definitely do need a new way to handle things in the agentic era, and this seems pretty compelling. I definitely, like I said, I just was traveling a bit for work, but I'm gonna definitely dig into it a bit more because I have the GitHub app installed and I've synced a few things, but I have to, I don't know, have a little more fun with this. Probably gonna do some of this on my live stream. Not the work live stream, but I'll just mess around in the morning or something. But
Yeah, and one of the
cool.
things you mentioned that was
Yeah.
spicy, I have a there's a channel, you might see something referring to it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, well, with that said, if you're interested in spice people, maybe join the Discord. You can check it here, and yeah, no, thanks again for hanging, Rizel. If you don't mind just staying on for 1 second, everybody else, thanks for hanging today. Lots of great questions, and we'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna be hanging with my buddy Marino Wijay next week. And then I got Nena from Kodo coming on in a few weeks. So we got some exciting people. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you in the next one.